I'm going to tell you the yellow suit story.
The Джайв Эйсез.
We're the Джайв Эйсез. We're a swing band, and we're all Scientologists.
I'm Peter. I play the drums.
I'm Ken. I play the double bass.
I'm John. Play tenor saxophone.
I'm Ian. And I'm the singer, trumpet player and ukulele player of the Джайв Эйсез.
I'm Alex. I've been playing this for quite a few years.
I'm Vince. I'm the piano player.
How I got really into playing music was I bought a snare drum and just started and drove everyone crazy.
I was listening to the radio and heard some great music, and I just thought I'd love to be able to do that. And my dad said, well, what's stopping you? That's how I got into music.
I discovered Elvis Presley, and I watched his films, and that really inspired me. And I wanted to be able to do the same thing that he did to me.
I actually went to see Peter in a gig, and after the gig they said to me, "You've got the hairstyle and the look. Do you want to join the band and play bass?" Within 3 months I was on stage. Knew nothing about music at all. First person I actually got interested in was Elvis's bass player called Bill Black, and he played in a sort of a hard thumping style. They call it sort of the birth of rockabilly, which was like this. And that was used because a lot of times people they didn't use in country music, they didn't use drums, so it'd be the bass that would hold the rhythm together with the slap.
One day I went to school and my dad asked me if I fancied playing an instrument, and I thought, that's not a bad idea. So I looked down a list, the trombone stuck out as something interesting, so I thought, yeah, I'll give that a go. Played at school for a few years, and then played in the, when I went to college, I played in the college jazz band and orchestra. Then I met these guys, and they wanted a trombone player because they'd always loved the music of Louis Prima, but had never had a trombone player, and part of his lineup, in his six-piece lineup in the 50s, the trombone was quite prominent, the trombone and saxophone together specifically, and that was quite a unique sound that they made. So I just went along to a couple of gigs, didn't really know what I was doing, but fumbled my way through it. Luckily I was not rubbish, so rubbish that they didn't want to have me back, so then I just kind of learned from there, and they took me on. I was 17 at the time, and I've been with the band for 21 years now.
One of the first things I ever remember was sitting down at the piano, having a music lesson, and it's something I've been doing all my life. We do stuff like a lot of boogie-woogie, where we'd have the left hand is doing something like this all the way through it. Right hand's putting stuff on top.
What we play is jive, and it's Джайв Эйсез. We take our style from the roots of swing and jive. Swing basically came from the original jazz. You had New Orleans jazz. You had Glenn Miller, Benny Goodman, and you had people dancing. Jitterbug, Lindy Hop, and they used to dance to it. And this was spread all over the world. And then all the way through into swing, jive, and then the dancing to rock and roll in the 1950s. And so the mixture of jazz or swing was like the roots of what we know as rock and roll.
Everything she do just right. When I say what you want to do.
And then in the late 90s in America, all of a sudden, you had people all over the world learning to swing dance and Lindy Hop and jive, and a few bands started up, and we were one of them.
We play upbeat music that people love.
That's what we do with our music videos, bring colour to the world, and that's what we want to do, use our art, use our music, videos, everything to make people happier.
With us, without us.
With us, without us. That's what we want to do. So it's a quite amazing story when you look back on it. We were these young teenagers, never been out of the country much.
When we first started, we were playing weddings, small weddings, pubs, busking on the street to earn some money.
We were trying to make enough money to, carry on as a band. And this was time, before we had mobile phones and the internet or anything. We couldn't afford to make phone calls out. So we had a piece of cardboard taped over the dial so that we actually couldn't be tempted to make phone calls out and create a phone bill. We'd have different people who wanted to be our agent or manager, and some of them weren't so trustworthy.
Then suddenly we got this agent that said, I want you to bring you over to Switzerland for a 3-week tour. And suddenly we were playing these casinos, these nightclubs, and playing all night.
One of our first shows, and the sound system just went out just towards the end of the show. Just when you're building for the audience, completely went out. So what we did is we just did what we did in the street. We just went out in the middle of the floor. I sat on Ken's shoulders while he's playing the bass, and I'm singing and playing the trumpet. Pete took a snare drum out and he's playing outside on the front, and all of us went out and the audience stood around us and clapped, and it went down brilliantly. And so we learned from that, and then we used to do that in our show. Even if the sound system didn't break, we'd go and I'd jump on a table and play the trumpet. Ken would go out and play the bass, and we used to do that a lot and still do. A lot of the musicians would be very competitive, and the bands had guys that would talk behind each other's backs, and just wanted a band that was fun. It has a lot to do with communication. And we eventually found the group of guys that wanted to do that, and as a band we've now been together for 20 years. And I don't know many bands that have been together that long, still got on with each other, spent 12 hours in a band together, travelling through different countries.
Because obviously we're very passionate about making people happy, bringing people up. Some guy came up to us, took us aside and said, our life was at an end I was going down the pan and I walked into a Джайв Эйсез gig, and you guys just brought life and made me think, yeah, there can be happiness in life again. And he said that actually life turned around for him after coming to one of our shows.
We've put a lot of effort into doing very positive music videos. The first real massive production music video we did was the Bring Me Sunshine video.
Bring me sunshine, in your smile, make me happy, all the while, in this world where we live, there should be more happiness, so much joy we can give to each man you brought tomorrow.
The Sunshine video was put up on YouTube.
One day we got this alert on the internet and we'd been mentioned on someone's blog, so we looked up the blog, and this lady he'd been to a doctor in Seattle, and she'd taken her elderly aunt or mother there, and she went to see how the aunt was doing, and the doctor had given her this prescription. She looked at the prescription, it said, watch the Джайв Эйсез video Bring Me Sunshine on YouTube on this like RX pad form. And we got in touch with the doctor, and he said, yeah, thanks very much for the video. I've been prescribing it to hundreds of patients. It really helps get them emotionally over the problems that they're having instead of using drugs, which is really fantastic.
Why the yellow suits? We get asked this many times on radio and television, and the real story, just between us, is when we recorded and produced one of our albums, which was called Bolt from the Blue. We were wearing red suits, and we did a photograph, and when the cover was being produced, the person producing and very nicely creating the cover art, the background was blue because it was called Bolt from the Blue, and they photoshopped our suits to be yellow. And so we got yellow suits for when we released the album. Instantly, the yellow suits became what we were known for. And we realised that basically when you're playing at a big festival, you don't even have the band's name necessarily on the drum kit. People are standing at the back going, wow, this is a good band. And they don't know the name of the band, but they can see you in yellow. And then they might look through the programme or brochure and they see the band in the yellow suits. And we were so famous, we did Lithuania Jazz Festival. 12,000 people, one of our biggest audiences. And the next year we came back and their website was like, the yellow person's return. And people had yellow flags and yellow scarves on and stuff like that. It was like, we were like, wow, this is amazing. And it's really weird because you can be sitting in London having a cup of coffee before a gig and no one recognises us. You get changed and put the yellow suits on and it's like Superman. Suddenly everyone's like, it's the Джайв Эйсез. Suddenly you're recognisable. And then when we did Britain's Got Talent, one of the judges, who's a famous singer, mentioned the fact that we were dressed in yellow and how vibrant that was, and we were a ray of sunshine. And Simon Cowell stood up and they were all boogieing, and Simon Cowell was smiling and stuck his thumbs up and he said, you put me in a good mood.
Someone like me, ooh, and learn to be like someone like you. One more time, and learn to be like someone like me.
Yeah. So yeah, yellow suits and a yellow ukulele. So the yellow ukulele, it's a happy instrument, and the G here, which normally, if it was a stringed instrument, a guitar or something, you expect this to be lower, but it's actually higher. It just always sounds happy. That's what I like about it. It's got like a... people call it a little guitar. I guess it is a little guitar, but it's got 4 strings and I've got 4 fingers, so it's a lot easier to play. You can take them anywhere. Well, we first started promoting the anti-drug campaign over 20 years ago. I had a very good friend who was a singer, and at one point we were out at night and he collapsed, and would have died, and I had to help him, as they call it, jack up. I had to actually get his belt around his arm, help him inject himself, and that made me realise how much it changes someone from like a bright young person that everybody liked, falling apart at 3 o'clock in the morning and having to be dragged to hospital. So when I found out about the campaign, Truth About Drugs, it was something that we really wanted to get involved in. Now we go and play in different places and we do it for the Truth About Drugs, and we have booklets that we give out and really affects people. And actually we've just started and launched Mayors Against Drugs, which is mayors basically getting on board and helping on the Truth About Drugs campaign. And that seemed to be catching on. A lot of mayors acting other mayors. And I think that's happening quite a lot. There's all sorts of people getting on board now. Just one little story was where we were playing and this girl came up, saw us play, and she read one of the booklets and realised that that was one of the drugs she was taking and hadn't realised that it was, the effects of it. And she read the booklet and she said, that's it, I'm going to stop.
People are really interested. We stick around and talk to people afterwards. And the people want the information, they want the booklets.
We've promoted the Truth About Drugs campaign all over the place. England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales. We've been over to Europe, France, Germany, Holland, Italy. And we've done some in the US as well, and it's been town centres, schools.
So there's one town centre we used to play in, very, very big town actually. And there'd be lots of young teenagers and school kids and university kids. And first of all, they'd be like, look at us a bit like a bunch of older than us people who are playing not our sort of music, preaching to us about drugs or telling us not to take drugs. Gradually, they started to dance to us and try and jive. And but basically, they gradually came to like it. And they'd come and there'd be a crowd of them. And so you'd have mothers shopping and then all these goths and people dancing to us. And we sort of became their band.
To be able to put into society something as powerful and empowering as the Truth About Drugs campaign is just one of the best things that I do.
Yeah.
We had learned not only to play music, but to interact with the audience and to communicate to the audience.
We've probably touched at least, millions with our message. Since the video has gone sort of viral, we're getting bookings from like Bulgaria, Morocco, different places that have jazz festivals that you'd never think of playing, but it sort of expands our reach. And we get more people contact us and say, we've really liked the video, your message you're giving out.
will come to put on a whole concert, and that gathers a big crowd, and that brings life, brings smiles to the area.
I'm coming to see the Джайв Éisez from London, England, and we are so excited that they are here.
We love the Джайв Эйсез!
Wow! Awesome! We loved it. It was wonderful. It was wonderful.
We've won several awards, like a special award from the City of Derry, and also a special award from the Variety Club of Great Britain, which is an entertainers charity, the work we do with charities, specifically with Truth About Drugs, and also a number of awards for our videos that Alex will tell you about.
Bring Me Sunshine won a Silver Telly Award and several film festival awards, and some of the other music videos have also won like Best Music Video or Best Positive Video in certain film festivals around the world, from New York to Puerto Rico to California, all over the place.
And it's really just living the dream. And it's like, you know, just the amazing thing is, as you get older, I think with music, if you keep on with your goals and your dream, it just gets better and better.
I'm Peter.
I'm Ken.
I'm John.
I'm Ian.
I'm Alex.
I'm Vince.
We're the Джайв Эйсез, and we're all Scientologists.